Here I go, here I go, here I go. Yeah, here I go, here I go.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Take Podcast. I'm your host, Jackson Burleson. Of course, in today's episode, is Caleb Williams the real deal? It is official. Caleb Williams is going to the Chicago Bears. Bear fans may hate that, and I know many Bears fans hate that. But when you look at Caleb Williams as a prospect and the ability that he brings to a football team, his ability to throw, extend plays, his IQ, his vision, his pocket awareness, his arm, he has so many abilities on that field. But I think his abilities are getting overshadowed by his ego and the way he carries himself, because he comes off as arrogant. I will admit, when he's saying things at a draft combine like, oh, well, there's only one of me, not all 30 teams can draft me. Or him saying, well, I want to part ownership of a team as a rookie. That's insane. Even Tom Brady didn't get part ownership of a team when he was playing. But when you look at Caleb Williams, the discipline of making good decisions in college will come. Everyone's saying he's immature. All college kids are. When he's in the NFL, he'll mature. I'm not worried about that. He'll go into a culture where a team is ready for him. The Bears just picked up DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett. They still got DJ Moore in the house. Then they got Cole Kmet. They have weapons for this man. And they're going to draft offensive linemen for this man. And they re-signed Jalen Johnson. They still have DeAndre Sweat. They still have players. They still have players. And I think Caleb Williams coming in, he'll make an impact right away. I saw the Bears are projected to have like 8.5 wins. If you're taking over-under on that, I think the Bears are going to go over 8.5 wins this next season as Caleb Williams is their quarterback, because Caleb Williams is just that good. He's a generational talent. Last 2 seasons at USC, he threw for 72 touchdowns and only 10 interceptions. And before he was at USC, when he took Spencer Rattler's place at Oklahoma as a freshman, I knew from that moment on, okay, this kid's good. I didn't know he was going to be number 1 pick good. But everyone knows Caleb Williams last year, if he was eligible to go to the draft, would have went over Bryce Young. Everyone knows that. He would have went over Bryce Young. He would have been the best player in the 2023 draft class. But now you've got the 2024 draft class. He's still the best player. He's still the best player. And Bears fans are like, well, we didn't give Justin the chance. That is true. Justin Fields, technically, when you look at the amount of games he played each individual season he was there for the Bears the last 3 years, he didn't play a full season. He didn't. Last year, Justin Fields missed time with his finger injury. He missed about 4 games, only played 13. The year before that, he played 15 games. The year before that, he was a rookie, so they didn't throw him in right away. He didn't get the job until later that season. They didn't give him a fair shot. I will say that. But Justin Fields, the thing that I look at Justin Fields and say is, does he read the field quickly? No. Everyone wants to blame the offensive line. The Bears' offensive line was in the middle of the pack when it came to the NFL. I know it seemed like Justin Fields got sacked a lot, which he did. But the reason for that is because he wasn't able to make reads quickly. It was a problem in the first 3 weeks. He wasn't throwing the football quickly enough. He was holding on to it too long. That's a problem. And I remember watching RG3 after he had his unbelievable rookie season do the exact same thing. And Justin will do better in Pittsburgh whenever he gets the starting job. he will do better in Pittsburgh because they have a better defense, they have good receivers, they have a better run game, they have a better offensive line. But when you look at the Steelers' offensive line, they were also in the middle of the pack as well. So is it really that much better than the Bears' offensive line? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of questions about if Justin Fields had this team that Caleb Williams is about to get, would he do good? Yes, I think he would do good because Justin Fields is a very serviceable player. He's a young player. He still has a lot of potential. But is he better than Caleb Fields? Or not Caleb Fields. Oh, tongue twister. Is Justin Fields better than Caleb Williams right now? No. The upside Caleb Williams has outweighs what Justin Fields is right now. How much better is Justin Fields going to get in the next 3 years? Let's put this hypothetical question out here. 3 years from now, who will be the better quarterback? Caleb Williams or Justin Fields? It will be Caleb Williams. That's an obvious answer. Obvious answer. Because he can carry the load. He can. And he's not going to get hurt. He's not a mobile quarterback. That's the one thing I don't like about mobile quarterbacks. They are more prone to injury. They are. The way Justin plays, he is more prone to injury. Caleb Williams, he doesn't run like Justin Fields. He stays behind the offensive line. He throws the football. He doesn't need to extend plays with his legs to be able to be good throwing the football. That's one thing that I do like about Caleb Williams. Now, outside the field, that's a question that everyone's saying, well, will he be a bust? Will Caleb Williams be a bust? I don't think so, but he does have a chance if his ego gets in the way. And he's not a good leader, and he becomes a locker room cancer. If he does that, then he's going to be on his way to being distracted from being a good football player. Because Justin Fields is not a locker room cancer. Caleb Williams has the potential to be one. He's a distraction. I mean, I saw a video. Caleb Williams was walking out to throw for his pro day, and Keenan Allen was there. It was at USC. Caleb Williams literally sees Keenan Allen and doesn't even go and dab this man up. Are you really that big? Are you really too big for Keenan Allen, who's going to be your future teammate, to go say what's up to him? Keenan Allen has to come up to you, or Caleb Williams turns to his right and sees him. He definitely saw him way before that. He saw him when he was walking out. I don't know what that is. That's the one thing I don't like. I don't like his attitude and his behavior. But that has nothing to do with what he can do on the field. I think it could distract him, like I've been saying. But we'll transition off of Caleb Williams. He's going to be the Bears quarterback. That's the bottom line. Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Those are the two quarterbacks on the Steelers right now. Is it fair to say that if Russell Wilson does not perform at the beginning of the season, that Justin Fields can take his starting job? Yes, I think so. I think Russell Wilson will get the first opportunity. He will be the week one starter in Pittsburgh. But if he doesn't play well, number one, he's going to lose his starting job. And number two, he's going to be out of the NFL. Russell Wilson is 35 years of age. The Steelers do not have much invested in this man. He's only getting paid $1.21 million to be on the Steelers. The NFL league minimum. Excluding all the money he's making from Denver. But besides the point, Justin Fields has an opportunity if he competes. And Mike Tomlin said he's going to get a chance to compete. Now, when he first got traded, everyone was saying, well, he's going to learn behind Russell for a year. He's not going to be competing for the starting job. I don't know, I don't know how that person could somehow say that. That's what I read when I first heard about it. It was like a short little 3-paragraph article. And I think Russell Wilson, he will do better. I don't think he'll lose a starting job. I don't. And the pick the Steelers gave up depends. It could be turned into a fourth-round pick if Justin Fields plays 51% of the snaps next year, which I don't think he's going to play 51% of the snaps. But if Russell plays this bad, like he has been the last 2 years, being 11-19 as the Denver Broncos starter, there's a possibility out there that Russell Wilson could lose his starting job. He'll make it through training camp as the first string. I will say that, and I will put that out there. Did the Bears fail Justin Fields? It's a tough question. It's a tough answer, but I'm going to say yes. Yes, they didn't give him enough time, and they started building around a player who is not on their roster yet. And I know why the Bears moved on. Because they are afraid that if they pass up on Caleb Williams, it's going to be a problem if he ends up being good, which is a fair assessment. And I know we're getting back into Caleb Williams. But the dysfunction for the Bears organization is at an all-time high. Now, I will say the general manager of the Bears has made very good moves, and he's put the Bears in a good position to win this year, to make the playoffs, and be serviceable, be decent. But it's the Bears, man. It's the Bears. Does anyone really trust that organization? I don't. They ruin a lot of quarterbacks. They do. I mean, they haven't really had a good quarterback in the 2000s. They haven't had one. In the entire span of the 2000 era, 24 years, their best quarterback is Caleb Williams, and he hasn't even played a snap. Hasn't played one snap. Now, kind of transitioning into the draft a little bit more, since we are going to stay on Caleb Williams, I want to talk about J.J. McCarthy. Why is this man all of a sudden being projected to go in the top 3 in some of these mock drafts? The second overall pick, J.J. McCarthy goes to the Commanders. That would be stupid. J.J. McCarthy didn't even throw 200 yards in the national title game. Didn't even throw 200 yards against Iowa in the Big Ten title game. He had the best rushing attack in college football with Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum. One of the best defenses in college football. Arguably the best. One of the best offensive lines in college football. I get it. J.J. McCarthy is definitely a first-round talent. Not dismissing that. But top 3? No. Absolutely not. No way. J.J. McCarthy has not had to carry the load that Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jane Daniels have had to carry. And even Bo Nix. Even Michael Penix. I think Michael Penix is better than J.J. McCarthy, and Michael Penix won't even go in the first round. Guarantee you. Guarantee you. It's crazy. I think J.J. McCarthy being projected to go this high is definitely the Jim Harbaugh effect. I think since they see him being coached by Jim Harbaugh throughout his tenure at Michigan, they go, okay, so he can come in and be a pro-style quarterback right away. He's ran a pro-style offense in college. He knows what it's like to be around an NFL coach. Maybe that has to be the reason. And Jim Harbaugh's been saying, I love J.J. McCarthy. I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. That's going to get people's attention. But it reminds me of Zach Wilson. When you flip out about someone's pro day of him making insane throws with no defense and receivers he's very familiar with. I don't think a pro day really says much about a player. I think it just shows them in scouts that a player is skilled and he can do certain things on the field in certain situations. You're showing off your talent at that point. And I think J.J. McCarthy last year was impressive at times, but he wasn't even the best player on Michigan last year. That's the crazy part. Even the year before that, Aiden Hutchinson, best player on Michigan. Best player. Michigan is a powerhouse. And J.J. McCarthy wasn't even the best player on his team. People were saying that J.J. McCarthy should stay another year. And then all of a sudden he's projected to go this high in the draft. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying the J.J. McCarthy hype. The most accurate mock draft I've seen, because I've seen some ridiculous mock drafts recently. Ridiculous. I've seen some where Marvin Harrison's fallen out of the top 10. And then J.J. McCarthy gets taken second overall. Malik Neighbors goes to the Giants. Marvin Harrison's going to be the first receiver taken off the board. That's going to happen. If we're going 1 through 4, it's going to be Caleb Williams, obviously. Jaden Daniels to the Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels is very well liked by the Commanders organization. Number 3, Drake May. I think he's going to go to the Patriots. I think that's a good fit for the Patriots and himself. But they're saying J.J. McCarthy could fall there. I don't know. I don't know where J.J. McCarthy's going to go. He's either going to go really high or he's going to go outside the top 10. That's what I think. And depending on where the Vikings decide to trade up, which is what I was getting to, if they decide to trade up to the top 6, which I've seen in a couple mock drafts, to get J.J. McCarthy, we'll see what the Vikings do, because they obviously need a quarterback, because you cannot waste a talent like Justin Jefferson, who's had 5,889 yards and 30 touchdowns in his career. Unbelievable. Man missed 7 games last season and had a 1,000-yard season. I think Justin Jefferson, I think a young quarterback would service him well. It would keep him in Minnesota, 1. Then he could build chemistry with a young player that he has a future with. Because Justin Jefferson is a young player. Getting a young quarterback is key. The Vikings still haven't made a move yet. They still haven't made a move to go higher up in the draft, but I think they will. And I think the Chargers are willing to trade their pick because they don't need a quarterback. They have a quarterback. And they could take Brock Bowers probably lower in the draft because they need a tight end because they lost Gerald Everett. It'll be interesting because the Vikings have a good team. They added Aaron Jones. They still have a serviceable defense. They were really good against the run last year. They were 8th against the run last year. Passing, not so much. They had the 16th overall ranked defense. But the Vikings need a quarterback. And is J.J. McCarthy that guy for the Vikings? If he falls that low, I think at 6-5 range, I think J.J. McCarthy will go around there. But for top 3, top 2, no. Now let's move on to Sean Payton not being worried about the quarterback position in Denver. Is this a joke? So Sean Payton comes in, benches Russell Wilson, gets him cut, puts Denver in $85 million in dead cap. And then he has the 29th ranked defense in the NFL last year and gets 70-pieced. And has that to say? Oh, we're not worried about quarterback? Jared Stidham is on your team. Unless you get Bo Nix, you better be lucky to get Bo Nix, Denver, because if you don't, you are screwed. Screwed. I don't know if Bo Nix will fall to Denver. I don't know. Denver has no money. None. A defensive-minded head coach in Sean Payton says the Broncos shouldn't be worried about the quarterback position. And then the defense is the 29th ranked in the NFL last season. That's hilarious. I'm not going to talk about the Broncos for another second because they're a laughingstock. Which NFL free agency move fulfilled their team's needs the most? There's a couple. There's a couple of teams I will sit here and say did exactly what they needed to do in free agency. I'll start out by really applauding the Chiefs on getting a number one receiver, Marquise Brown. I know what you guys are going to say. Marquise Brown's he's not a true number one receiver. But on the Chiefs, he's a number one receiver. 100%. This guy is quick, elusive. The Chiefs can use Marquise Brown in a similar way they can use Tyreek Hill. Because when Marquise Brown was on the Cardinals last year, they would put him in jet sweep actions, bubble screens, him getting yards after the catch. I think that's exactly what the Chiefs can do. Marquise Brown is a perfect fit. He's been injured the last couple years. He's missed 8 games in the last 2 seasons. But he's cheap. He's $7 million for 1 season. I think Marquise Brown fits perfect in the Chiefs' West Coast offense. And they need a number one receiver because then they have Travis Kelce. Then Rashee Rice is not the number one guy. You got a serviceable guy in Marquise Brown who was very good when he was on the Ravens. He had 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns before he went to the Cardinals. It was in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And I like that move for the Chiefs. Getting Marquise Brown, that gives them a chance to three-peat. But losing Ladarius Sneed is a big loss for the Chiefs, I think. Because the Titans got a squad now. You're picking up Ladarius Sneed. You got Will Levis going into the second year with weapons like D-Hop, Calvin Ridley, Treylon Burks, Tony Pollard in the backfield. The Titans made a lot of moves. That AFC South is going to be a very interesting division. Very interesting. You got the Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence. Anthony Richardson with the Colts. We'll see if he can stay healthy. The Texans with C.J. Stroud, which I would love to see T. Higgins end up in a Texans uniform. That is one player I would like to see end up in a Texans uniform. If he ends up getting traded from Cincinnati, which I don't know if he will because he's still going to be making $21.8 million as a franchise tag player, which is not that bad, if you ask me. But another team that made some drastic moves in free agency. Obviously, the Eagles getting Saquon Barkley. That RPO action with him and Jalen Hurts is going to be disgusting. Disgusting. And then you got C.J. Gardner-Johnson to help out with the secondary help for the Eagles. Last year, the Eagles had the 31st ranked passing offense. Or not passing offense, passing defense. They needed C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Needed him. He's one of the best corners in football. And Darius Slay, he's getting old. He's getting old. Bradbury, he's serviceable. But the Eagles secondary was getting exposed all year long last year. There's no doubt that the Eagles have a good defensive line. But their secondary was their problem. And I wonder how the Eagles offensive line will do without Jason Kelce. Can Saquon Barkley still be that dude without Jason Kelce? I think so because he's Saquon Barkley, but will he be able to stay as healthy? I don't know. Because Saquon Barkley always has that asterisk next to his name. If healthy, top 3 running back in the NFL. I think the Eagles definitely got better. They're going to win the NFC East next year. It's no doubt. No question. No question. No question, especially when you have the Cowboys not making any moves. And I saw this interview the other day. I'm usually don't talk about my Cowboys much on this podcast anymore because they're very frustrating. As you guys know, I'm not watching next year. Mike McCarthy has the audacity to come out and say, I think our roster has improved. How has the roster improved? Are you delusional? We lost Tyron Smith, Tyler DeBazier. Do I need to keep naming? Tony Pollard, Leighton Vander Esch, Michael Gallup. I mean, we didn't get better. And this is Jerry's definition of going all in. Okay. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Going all in, great move. The Cowboys are the third best team in the NFC East next season. And I think the Cowboys' ceiling is winning 9 games. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Dak Prescott will be out of Dallas after this season. Guarantee you. Last year on his contract. And then you're talking about having $2 million in cap space, not being able to pay CeeDee Lamb, not being able to pay Micah Parsons. We might as well just rebuild at this point. $2 million to start free agency? You think that's enough to even go make an impactful signing? No. He was at the bottom of the barrel when it came to cap space. And the Commanders, they had the most cap space in the NFL. And they took advantage. They snagged our center. They got Austin Eckler. And they also snagged our defensive end, Armstrong. It's becoming hard to be a Cowboys fan. I'm going to stay faithful, but I'm not watching. But the NFL, the draft season, it's around the corner. There's so much going on in the NFL right now. So much. But this is going to do it for this episode of the Take Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to give it a thumbs up. Hit the notification bell. Hit the subscribe button so you do not miss out on any more podcasts. But I'm your host, Jackson Burleson. Peace out.
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me nice. I'm from another world, baby, yeah. Broadway paradise. They think I'm way too cold, cause I put my heart up.